football on CBS Sports Network is brought to you by Geico in the Mountain West. A rather important game for number 22 Boise State. The Rainbow Warriors are waiting just behind Aloha Stadium, Pearl Harbor, USS Arizona Memorial on this Veterans Day weekend. Overtime right now, Wyoming 59-52 on top of UNLV. How does that impact Boise State in a large way? Wyoming sitting on top of the mountain. Boise State needs help, and they're hoping that UNLV can come back in overtime. We will update you on that ball game. This one is just about to start. Rich Waltz along with Adam Archuleta and Cassie McKinney from Aloha Stadium in Hawaii. The Rainbow Warriors last week were absolutely rolled by San Diego State, 55-0. And Nick Rolovich, their head coach, feels that they are a much better team than that. Boise State, of course, stubbed their toes 2 weeks ago at Wyoming. That impacted the standings in a big way. And Brian Harsin told us this week, all the Broncos can do now is win out and hope for help. There's a look at Rolovich, the former quarterback here at Hawaii under June Jones. And Adam, he's done a real nice job of changing the culture here.
Yeah, you can see it's very evident in the first part of the season, the improvement and the intensity at which the Rainbow Warriors have played this season. Now, they are a much better team here at home, and not an easy task after the last week's game against one of the best teams in the Mountain West, but they feel they can play a good game here against the Broncos.
This is Jonathan Moxey, and he's hit at the 15. And Hawaii, desperate for a fast start. Good play on the special teams. Chick-fil-A on the islands. Brings you the starting lineups, and when you start with Boise State, you can look at the quarterback. Brett Rippon is just a sophomore. He doesn't play like it. He's having a marvelous year.
Yeah, he's turned into one of the best passers in the Mountain West. He's a confident quarterback. Sometimes maybe a little bit too confident, trusts his arm, and tries to fit the ball in some windows, but he's looking to play a clean game here today.
Jeremy McNichols is hit and hit hard at the 16. He gets forward to the 17. It's a gain of 1. Trayvon Henderson, who had some big hits last week, made the stop. Boise State's offense, we talk about the weapons, McNichols, Spurbeck. How about Cedric Wilson?
Yeah, Thomas Spurbeck is the all-time leader receiving here at Boise State, but Cedric Wilson may be the most dangerous receiver out here, especially down the field in one-on-one matchups.
That was Wilson in motion. That's Wilson with the football, and he stopped at the 24-yard line. Jelani Tavai for Hawaii. Hawaii's defense gave up a lot of points and a lot of yards last week. But Trayvon Henderson had a nice night in San Diego, and he's made a stop already.
You already touched on how much improved this football team is, and defensively especially, Trayvon Henderson is the real deal, coming off a monster game last week. 8 tackles, 2 sacks, and an interception. He's going to have to be active in this one as well.
3rd down 2 for Boise State. First drive, pitch, trying to get wide. That's McNichols, and he's got room. Midfield, McNichols inside Hawaii territory. Ferris knocks him out of bounds at the 39-yard line.
You have a chance out here in a one-on-one situation, but that's just a mismatch. Jeremy McNichols, one of the more explosive running backs in the league that you're going to find against the defensive end. Kema Kaleavea, just not enough speed. And a big play.
So Boise State on the move. They mark it at the 38, 1st and 10. That's McNichols back into the backfield. And on a toss sweep, McNichols is outside. Pursuit gets him. And Mefi Kaloa Matangi makes the stop for Hawaii. Kaloa Matangi, the junior. His brother is back in the offensive lineup for Hawaii.
You can see Boise State going a quick tempo here, and they want to take advantage of the Rainbow Warriors defensively. In their first 2 drives of the game, they've given up points in every game this season, and they're trying to put it in for 7 here.
Rip into the air, end zone shot, Spurbeck, got it! Touchdown, Boise! Thomas Spurbeck.
Tough assignment for the freshman safety. Kalea Santiago, number 13, freshman starting here in the lineup. And talking about one of the best receivers in the Mountain West, somebody who's done it for a long time here. Terrible mismatch and an easy score for Brett Rippon and the Bronco offense.
Extra point, and once again, Hawaii gives up a long scoring drive on their first defensive possession. Tyler Rasa adds the kick. Boise State has come to the islands and put up a quick 7. For those of you watching on CBSSports.com, our streaming coverage will conclude after the commercial break, but we'll continue on CBS Sports Network. You can find CBS Sports Network by going to CBSSportsNetwork.com. Nick Rolovich, the Hawaii head coach, told us yesterday we cannot afford a first series drive for a score, and that's exactly what Boise State has done. Now, who's going to play quarterback, and how will that quarterback do? That's a question for Rolovich and the Rainbow Warriors. With that, here's Cassie McKinney.
Yeah, Rich, Drew Brown did not have a good game last week against San Diego State. Spent most of the second half on the bench. So today, Hawaii is asking him to bounce back after that tough situation. But that's something he's done for most of his career. And head coach Nick Rolovich says last week, Drew's frustrations just got the best of him. Today, he needs to get his swagger back. Coach told him, you are the starter. You have won games for us. Let's get back to that. But, guys, Coach did say if Drew's confidence starts wavering, we could see Ikaika Woolsey step in and take over.
Rolovich would know. Thank you very much, Cassie. He was a quarterback and a good one. 8-1 as a starter under June Jones. Keelan Evaliko near the sideline. Good move by Evaliko, and he's caught there on special teams at the 18-yard line. There's a flag down after the play. It lands at the 17. And here comes the cow, and here come the lineups. Adam Archuleta, what can you tell us about Drew Brown, the sophomore quarterback?
Well, I thought it was interesting that Nick Rolovich said that it wasn't the benching last week that really got to him. It was the lack of success. And so when we asked him, well, how is he going to be more successful in this game? And look for a lot more.
Personal foul. Receiving team, number 60. It's half the distance to the goal. First down, Hawaii.
Look for a lot more zone read and taking advantage of his athletic ability. He's a smaller quarterback, and they thought that moving the pocket, getting his sight lines right, and taking advantage of the things that he could do with his legs would get him some confidence here early.
Personal fouls really hurt Hawaii in field position last week at San Diego State. And they're backed up inside their 10 against a pretty good Boise State defense. Brown's going to keep it, and he falls out to the 15-yard line. Some breathing room as the sophomore quarterback gets it out to the 14.
It's exactly what they talked about in their meetings, and using this and maybe creating a little bit of indecision on the Boise State defense. You know, keeping them off balance and not allowing that attacking defensive line to get upfield and pressure the quarterback.
Second down, 5. This is Laka Laka off left tackle. He is a north-south runner, and he goes north enough to get the first down. 6-yard carry. Tanner Vallejo made the stop. So Laka Laka is in the spotlight here because Diosemy St. Just, Hawaii's leading runner, is out for the game.
And they would like to go to kind of more of a power run game and make that a big part of their offense. And that's the big difference between Laka Laka and Diosemy St. Just. He is a bruiser-type back that they love to run up inside and expect him to get a lot of carries if they can keep the score close.
Bunched receivers. Laka Laka again. And this time 3 yards to the 22-yard line. Durant Miles made the stop for this Boise State defense. It has a new face in the secondary because of a great game against San Jose State, and that's Dylan Sumner Gardner.
A big addition. Now, he redshirted last year because of an ankle injury. Missed the first 4 games of this year because of some academics. But what he brought to this defense, especially at that interception on their first drive of the game last week, is that playmaking ability, and that's the missing link to this defense, getting turnovers and making plays on the ball.
Boise State blitz. Brown with time, lofts it up for the sideline, and it's incomplete. Eveliko, the intended receiver, Jonathan Moxie was all over him. Great coverage.
Yeah, the position at the top by Moxie was about as good as it can get. He was in leading position, and what that means is that now he can look back at the football and turn into a wide receiver. Now, here's the problem. We just talked about turnovers. That was right in their hands, and if you just catch the balls that are thrown to you, the turnovers are going to rack up. That's one they wish they had back.
Yeah, it's amazing. Just 4 turnovers for the Boise State defense in 9 games. This is 3rd down and 7. 4-man rush. Brown with time. Short throw. And Moxie again comes up to make the play. Slow to get up is Moxie. That was Paul Harris out of the backfield.
Well, that's so well done. 2 plays in a row by Jonathan Moxie. The first one down the field. Has to play the ball in the air, and this time reading his keys. And he knows the ball is going to come out quick because of some pressure. And he came in and knifed it and made a terrific play to get his defense off the field.
That's Cedric Wilson deep. You saw Rigoberto Sanchez, who's an outstanding punter and place kicker. He's one of the best that Hawaii has had. Now, do the Rainbow Warriors take too much time?
Offense, 5-yard penalty, remains 4th down.
This has not been a clean start for Hawaii. They give up a long drive on a couple of big plays, and then a personal foul on the kickoff return and a delay here. Nick Rolovich talking with Drew Brown on the sideline. Special teams coach. A lot of pressure on everybody on this Hawaii staff. Kick is away. Wilson is 31. Cedric Wilson upended. Nice return and great field position for the number 22 team in the country, the Boise State Broncos.
College football on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. By Allegra Gel Caps. Not just fast, Allegra Fast. Starts working in 1 hour. Use as directed. By Verizon. Join a better network because better matters. And by Bud Light. Raise one to right now.
Mountains of Oahu in the Mountain West. And number 22 Boise State, a 7-0 lead. It is a final. How about this? In 3 overtimes, UNLV takes down Wyoming. That is an enormous score for Boise State. Now, Boise State lost to Wyoming, so they have the tiebreak. But a 3-way tie or another loss to Wyoming could put Boise State in the championship game of the Mountain West if they win out. Jeremy McNichols, left side. And he rambles for what looks like a 10-yard pickup and a first down. How about UNLV taking down Wyoming?
Yeah, that's a pretty unbelievable triple overtime. Wyoming pretty resilient to come back in that game. They were down a couple scores late in the 4th quarter, but it's going to make it a very interesting November.
Yeah, Wyoming still has San Diego State at home and then finishes at New Mexico, and that's not easy. 1st and 10. Rippon is perfect. 3 for 3 now. Wilson is caught after a 8-yard throw and a 2nd down and short. Jalen Rogers on the coverage.
Well, the one thing you notice when Rippon is on and feeling it, he plays with a lot of confidence. It's perfect timing. You give a guy like Cedric Wilson that big of a cushion, Rippon's going to take the hitch all day long, and they'll gladly be
Timeout
in a 2nd-1 situation because you're on off coverage.
And a Rainbow Warrior is down right now at the 30-yard line. This is a defense that has had its share of injuries, as has everybody across the college football landscape. But right now, Boise State looks hot. McNichols had a big run on the first scoring drive. Rippon is perfect. The defense looks sharp. And Wyoming has lost. I think if you are a Bronco fan, you're feeling pretty good right now.
But still only the first quarter.
And there's what they have to do, Arch. Those are difficult games. And obviously, New Mexico is trying to get into the mix at 6-3.
Yes, and at San Diego State, they're playing as good as anybody. Now, Wyoming can, and they proved a few weeks ago by beating Boise State at home in Laramie that they're up to the task. But in order to close this out in the Mountain Division, it's gonna get pretty interesting and a lot of fun to watch.
Spurbeck in motion, shotgun for Rippon. Boise State on the ground on 2nd down and 2. Mefi Kolomatangi made the stop for Hawaii, short of the first down. That's a gain of a yard.
It's exactly the kind of play up front they're going to have to get from Kolomatangi. Getting penetration, getting in the cutback lanes, beating the block, and getting to McNichols before he can hit the seam. This is going to have to be a 4-quarter ball game and a disruptive ball game from the guys up front for the Rainbow Warriors to get to this Boise State offense.
3rd down, less than a yard. McNichols has a hole, and he's gone! Touchdown, Boise State. 35 yards. And this is beginning to look a lot like San Diego State for Hawaii.
A big block outside by his tight end and his right tackle, Mario Yaku. And again, tackling. It's the one thing that Hawaii talked about, their need in this game with all the athletes that the Broncos had on the offensive side of the ball. They must be able to tackle. 2 explosive plays already.
Explosive is a great word for Jeremy McNichols. 88 yards already. He is having some kind of season. And he goes 35 yards with Boise State's second score, 14-0 Broncos. In front of a big and talented offensive line, Jeremy McNichols right now is closing in already on 100 yards.
Well, here it goes right here. This is Damian Packard, the safety, and he's the free hitter. He's going to be completely unblocked, and you're going to see that he goes outside, number 21. He's waiting right there. He has to attack it. He's the extra guy. So if you're Kevin Limpa, the defensive coordinator, you're sitting there saying, look, it's not a magic defense that I have to call. We have an extra guy there to make the tackle. You just have to read your keys, be aggressive, but that was too easy for McNichols, a guy that fast, an open lane to get into your secondary untouched.
I guess there's 2 ways to look at this. Remember, Boise State went up 14-0 at Wyoming and lost that game. And Hawaii fell down 14-0 last week, but they lost 55-0. So which way is this going to go? And Hawaii obviously is going to have to start moving the football. They'll at least get out to their 25-yard line here. And you see the yards already. All of those rushing yards belong to Jeremy McNichols of Boise State.
Well, and here's the danger right now if you're Nick Rolovich, and he talked about it in going back to last game. They're not built to be in 4 wide receiver sets and throw the ball every down. They have to be able to rely on their run game, and their run game earlier this season was really, why you've seen such a big improvement. But right here, down 14 points, it makes it tough. Now the Boise State Broncos, they understand that you're going to have to throw the ball to get into this, and that front 4 and that front 7, they're just going to tee off on your quarterback.
Laka bounces off one, and a good hit by Dylan Sunder-Gardner to finish things. The other thing that Nick Rolovich told us is he's got to find a way to get the football to Marcus Kemp.
What teams have been doing as of late is playing off and inviting them to throw hitches and throwing it short. And he said that they haven't been patient enough and that sometimes their quarterbacks, Drew Brown, would try and force things, and that's when he would get into trouble.
Paul Harris is the running back. 2nd down and 8, and a real sense of urgency on this drive for Hawaii. And this is Harris, who's outside, got some room, midfield, and he's planted there by Tyler Horton after 23 yards, and for Hawaii, a big play.
And it followed the block of his freshman wide receiver, number 45, John Ursula. And that's what sealed the perimeter. Now, we already talked about Stephen Lakalaka as kind of the inside running back, the guy with the power game. But the senior Paul Harris, he's the perimeter guy. He's the guy who has the speed and the burst to hit the edge. And that time took advantage of a beautiful block by his wide receiver.
Harris still in there. Brown, deep shot, and it's dropped. Marcus Kemp on his way to the end zone, and Brown put it right on his hands.
This is pretty unbelievable. Marcus Kemp, 10 catches this year of 30 yards or more, 16 catches of 20 yards or more, leading the Mountain West with 910 receiving yards and a chance for the big ball, and he drops it.
2nd down 10. Kemp, they go right back to him. He's crunched, but holds on at the 45-yard line. Chancellor James made the stop, 5 yards on the pickup. Important that the Rainbow Warriors went right back to him.
You know, we talk about this every week watching games, you know, taking advantage of the opportunities and, you know, trying to get the ball downfield. And the teams that don't take advantage when they have a chance are the teams that have a hard time winning games.
3rd down 5, Boise State 45. Brown broken up. Tyler Horton with another big play, and it's 4th down and 5 at the Boise State 45, and this could be 4-down territory for Nick Rolovich.
Tyler Horton already had an 85-yard pick six earlier this season against Washington State. And these defensive backs and quarterbacks are sitting on routes. I think they know that the Rainbow Warriors are trying to be conservative on offense, but right now, somehow you have to loosen up this secondary.
4th down and 5 from the Boise State 45. Brown, inside throw. Evalico is hit. Flag goes down in the backfield, well short of the 1st down. But the flag sits at midfield. Evalico was hit right away.
Such a good play by the linebacker, senior linebacker, Tano Vallejo.
Tripping. Offense, number 50. That penalty is declined. The result of the play is the ball is turned over on downs. 1st down, Boise State.
From a throw that should have been 6 to a 4-and-out here at the 45-yard line.
Extremely disappointing. But I'm telling you, what a play by Tanner Vallejo, who wasn't fooled one bit. Yeah, number 20 right here. He sees it. Vallejo sees it. He goes right after the wide receiver, makes a great play. Tripping, inconsequential, because that was 4th down.
Yeah, Boise State gets the football. Their own 44. Rippon has yet to miss today, and it's Spurbeck who makes the catch, and he's out of bounds. Brett Rippon is 4 of 4 now. Spurbeck, one of his favorite targets, and a guy that's had a great career.
Oh, you can see that the precision that this offense is capable of running. With the timing and their wide receivers, the chemistry that Rippon has with his receivers. And somehow, some way, the Rainbow Warriors defense has to disrupt Rippon, because if you allow him to be comfortable, it's going to be pitch and catch all game.
Handoff Spurbeck, getting outside. Nice stop, nice cut, and a 15-yard gain by the senior out of Carmichael, California. the all-time leader in Boise State history in receiving yards. He can run it and he can throw it.
And right now, are you talking about Spurbeck or are you talking about the Boise State offense? Because they're doing whatever they want right now.
They both qualify.
They're running up inside. They're hitting the perimeter. They're throwing the ball deep. Again, Hawaii, somehow, somebody has to step up and make a play. Now, this is the trick play territory that the Broncos are used to pulling out rabbits out of their hat. Let's see if Brian Harsin has another one.
Alexander Madison is in the game for the end zone. Broken up. Wilson, the intended receiver. Jalen Rogers on the coverage. That's the first incompletion of the day.
Good coverage. Look at the cushion outside by Rogers on Cedric Wilson, knowing that he's going to go deep. Cedric Wilson has really started to come on. Former high school quarterback, but has had 300-yard receiving games this year and has just been a terrific complement of Thomas Spurbeck.
Hawaii 29-yard line, movement and flags. Kevin Hassel is the referee here, Mountain West crew.
False start. Offense, number 59. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Let's check in with Cassie McKinney. Cassie?
Rich, after that touchdown run by McNichols, defensive coordinator Kevin Limpa huddled his D up to talk through what happened on that drive and on that play. Seemed to be a lot of confusion on coverage, who had who covered. And Nick Rolovich walked over and told them, you guys are better than this. Calm down.
Well, they can sure show it here, Cassie, if they could stop Boise State. And Nick Rolovich and the Rainbow Warriors have fallen in a 14-0 hole. The procedure call is going to back the football up to the 34. Keep in mind for Boise State, this is also four-down territory. They've not had a good year with their field goal game. And so attempting a field goal from 40 out has been a problem for the Broncos this year. Madison, and he's caught. Alexander Madison, the freshman, had a big game last week, 100 yards against San Jose State.
Yeah, Penitito Lalongo, number 8, was the initial penetration. It completely shut the door on that front side, and then playing disciplined defense on the backside and not allowing Madison to cut back.
Madison in the backfield on his third down and 18. 14-0. Boise State on top. Number 22, Boise State's in paradise, or so it has seemed. Just perfect weather here. Aloha Stadium. Rich Waltz along with Adam Archuleta. And he surprises so far. Maybe not this great-looking Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I would say big shock to me that Hawaii hasn't been able to take advantage of maybe some big play opportunities. You know, Boise State is known for a fast start, and you've seen Hawaii's defense settle down here a little bit. But you have to take advantage of big plays when they've been presented, and Hawaii just hasn't done it.
Third down, 14. Rippon with time. Far sideline. Caught there. Wilson in stride. Big gain. And he's out of bounds inside the 10. They mark it at the 8. And he is down. Cedric Wilson.
This is just a beautiful catch and throw from Rippon to Wilson. And Rippon had all kinds of time in the pocket. This is Trayvon Henderson, their best player on defense. Just this little stutter right there to gain that separation. But a beautiful pass from Rippon, who puts it right on his receiver on the sideline. How about this pocket? Pass protection, picking up the blitz, and absolutely nobody in Rippon's sight line. It just drops it perfectly for the big play down the field.
And Wilson is now up and walking slowly with some help towards the Boise State bench. You talked about taking advantage of opportunity. Remember, Hawaii had a throw like that, but no catch on the drop by Marcus Kemp, which would have cut the lead in half early in that first quarter. And Rippon continues to throw it around the yard. He's 9 of 12, 124 yards. McNichol to the 3. And that's it. It'll be second down and goal into the red zone, brought to you by Verizon. Boise State, look at the touchdown percentage. Almost 80%, and the national average is just 62%.
Well, a big reason for that, I think, Jeremy McNichols coming into this game leading the nation with 20 touchdowns, 26 touchdowns a season ago. So this is a guy that, whether it's out of the backfield, in the passing game, or the running game, knows how to get in the end zone.
Now a Hawaii player is down. It looks like Registerman Ferris, the freshman corner. That's Ferris, who was actually pulled from the pile and was holding that leg. Coral Springs, Florida, is his home. So he traded nice weather for nice weather.
Pretty good, Rich.
I worked on it all week.
He's clever.
As someone who lived in Coral Springs, I know, Arch. All right, now Boise State is inside the 5. Hawaii has had some defensive stops, and they desperately need one here. Trying not to let this game get away. Rippon gives, and down goes McNichols. He's going to lose 2 yards. Trayvon Henderson, the first to get to him.
Yeah, it looked like McNichols just kind of lost his footing. And there was a hole there initially, but then Trayvon Henderson, number 39, came firing right through the line of scrimmage, and you see that McNichols got his feet caught together just a little bit and couldn't make the cut.
Third down goal. Anderson in motion. Rippon to throw. Looking for the end zone. Caught. Touchdown. Alec Danens. And the Broncos are in the end zone again.
Well, once again, just terrific pass protection. They're trying to run crossers and setting a pick, but just the late release off the block by Alex Danens. That's another easy touchdown for Boise State.
Boise State has 5 tight ends, and they use all 5 of them. Rasa knocks through the point. Broncos put up 14 in the first quarter. A Hawaii mistake. And the Broncos are right back into the end zone. Danens from Rippon. It's 21-0. Let's check in on Larry's Road Show. Throw the visor. Brought to you by Dr. Pepper. We focus on Boise State and their trip to Pearl Harbor, which was yesterday. They visited the memorial, of course, on Veterans Day. That's certainly a terrific place to pay your respects. Pearl Harbor Hickam Base is still a joint Air Force base and naval base in the harbor. Each year, almost 2 million visitors, and I was fortunate enough to get out there and see the USS Arizona and that memorial the day before Veterans Day on Thursday of this week. Right now, Hawaii is down by 3 scores. Avelico takes a knee. Got to catch the football. That's rule 1 if you're Nick Rolovich and Hawaii.
I would say mistakes, number 1, have really hurt the Rainbow Warriors today. This is a great chance right here to put 7 points on the board and cut the lead to just 7. And an unlikely drop by Marcus Kemp. This time, easy hitch on first down to get something positive going to stop the drive. Another mistake. And then you go back and look at the defensive side of the ball. Missed tackling and a huge running into the kicker call as Boise State was going to punt the ball. You give them another chance, and they march down the field and score 7 points instead.
Harris on an inside run, and that's sniffed out by Dylan Sumner-Gardner, who makes the stop after a 4-yard pickup.
Yeah, but at least it's 4 yards, and they haven't been able to get that in their last few drives. So I think that's a positive thing. Being 2nd and 6 rather than 2nd and 10 or 2nd and 15 is a lot easier place to be if you're Drew Brown trying to get a first down and move the offense down the field.
Just 2 first downs for Hawaii so far. Harris left side this time. And we'll see forward progress will give him 2 yards. This is going to be 3rd down and 4. Tanner Vallejo and Darren Lee, the stop for Boise State. There's a look at Lee, the senior. Remember, Deosame St. Just, leading rusher for Hawaii. Not playing, shoulder injury. 2nd week in a row he's missed. We've seen Stephen Lakalaka and Paul Harris, and it's Harris in there right now. Boise State shows blitz. They come with 4. Brown's throw. This one is caught. And that's Makoa Kamase Stevens. And a positive play that moves the sticks.
Boy, such a big first down. It doesn't look like a lot, but just to get something going. The defense has been on the field quite a bit for Hawaii, but that was all started because of the positive play on first down. And then it allowed Drew Brown to take the snap, set his feet, fire it out, get a first down.
1st and 10, Brown rolling and firing short, caught there. That's Dylan Cawley, his first catch. That's a healthy 7-yard pickup.
And when you get the first down of the drive, now it allows you to break into your offense. And now you're going to see them start to move the pocket for Brown to try and get on the edge, cut the field in half, try and find his matchups, getting the ball out, but it is essential to get started on the right foot.
Nick Rolovich, in his first year as a head coach, he had a great run as the offensive coordinator, quarterback coach at Nevada, and he had the same role here in Hawaii for a WAC championship team. Little trick play. This is Avelico, and he's going to throw it deep. It's intercepted. Picked off, this is Chancellor James, and he's got blockers. James caught from behind and dropped.
This ball should not have been thrown at all. And they're trying to run a trick play, a reverse pass, but you're going to watch both safeties deep converge on the football. Chancellor James is the backside safety. He reads pass all the way. He's just reading the eyes of Avelico, and that's an easy interception. But, you know, you have to be coached, and I'm sure they went over this, that if it's not there, you can't force the ball down the field. And there was nothing that showed him that he was supposed to throw the ball there. And Boise State, this time, comes down with the interception. Had a chance earlier in the game, dropped it. This time, they get one.
1st and 10. McNichols escapes one tackle, busted outside. One man to beat, and he's dropped. Another huge game by Jeremy McNichols. Well over 100 yards now.
Kaloa Matungi, one more time, number 97, has a chance to make this play in the backfield. And you see the power outside by McNichols. But if you give him a chance and you don't bring him down.
Operator, please put 11 minutes on the game clock, please. 11 minutes, and wind it on my signal.
Well, you saw those numbers for McNichols, 8 100-yard games now.
Thank you.
He sits at 129 on just 10 carries. He has a 38, a 35, and another 35-yard run. This one to the 18, McNichols again. This is really an interesting player. I mean, here's a guy that was a wide receiver as a freshman. They liked the way he handled the football. They made him their secret weapon, both a running back and a wide receiver. And now it's more of a running back, though you will see him split outside.
Yeah, and they felt like a couple years ago that getting him more touches in the run game was one way to get him on the field, because he was the most explosive person on the team. And he's just kind of taken that responsibility and it just flourished.
And he is tough enough to take the pounding. 5'9", 207 pounds. And he's inside the 10 down to the 9-yard line.
Well, a big-time double-team block by his right tackle, number 66, Mario Yaku, who comes down and then climbs up to the linebacker, and that's what gives the space for McNichols to get up the field.
Boise State on the doorstep again, inside the 10. Rippon keeps it, or excuse me, it's Spurbeck who has it. And Spurbeck's to the 7-yard line.
It's a little wildcat action with Thomas Spurbeck in the backfield.
Well, Spurbeck also a former high school quarterback.
Yeah. Boise State is as good as anybody at running trick plays and funny formations. But the way this game is going, I just say you get here inside the 10-yard line, just run your offense. Hawaii has not been able to stop your offense so far. Just give it to number 13.
McNichols, left side. And he plows inside the 5. It'll bring 3rd down and goal from about the 5-yard line.
It's an offense, and we've talked about it a lot here today, that they have so much balance. You've seen Rippon, he's been on point, throwing the ball with great accuracy today, but it's been the running game, and that was a big point of emphasis for this team in the last couple of weeks, to really dial in and run the football more. And coming off of last week, 298 yards against San Jose State, where they had 2 100-yard rushers. They run the ball like that, this is going to be an almost impossible offense to stop.
McNichols right side is in, touchdown. Travis Averill, his guard, opened the door, and McNichols is in again.
It's a good eye, Rich. Travis Averill was through a terrific block outside by McNichols. And nothing fancy, nothing tricky about that. Just run number 13 downhill and allow the offensive line to do what they do best. Put up another 7 points.
Boy, and if you're Hawaii, you think about the last 2 Boise scores and the last 2 mistakes. Running into the punter. And on this, it started, remember, with that trick play, Keelan Eveliko, rather, on the reverse. Just because you can throw it doesn't mean you should throw it. And a nice return sets up the Boise drive, and the Broncos have stretched their lead to 28-0. Number 22, Boise State, buoyed by a loss by Wyoming, is off and racing in Hawaii. Football season coming down the home stretch. Basketball is underway. It's the perfect time for some of the most intelligent women in sports to sound off. We Need to Talk, Tuesday night, 8 Eastern on CBS Sports Network, 24-hour home of CBS Sports. And an easy transition to our Cassie McKinney. Cassie?
Rich, keep an eye on this left foot of Cedric Wilson. After he was slow to get up, he came over, the medical staff wrapped it up. He's been on the sidelines, stretching it out, working it out, seeing how it's feeling, but I am told he's going back in, so keep an eye on it.
All right, he's had a great day, Cassie. Thank you. 5 catches already. And a line drive kick. Harris takes a knee. And with 8.5 minutes left, still in this first half, Hawaii trying to find some rhythm and some momentum. We talked about Drew Brown and the nightmare the offense had at San Diego State. They lost 55-0. Adam, it appears on the surface that Brown has not had a bad day here. He's thrown some balls that have not been caught, one of which would have been a long touchdown score.
It's amazing how deflating that long drop ball by Marcus Kemp could be on the offense, because this is a team that has not won a lot of games here in recent history. And to get a chance to have some energy and have a big play and score some points, to not come down with that opportunity, I'm sure has been almost insurmountable for this team that doesn't have a lot of confidence to be able to overcome.
That one behind Harris, and he couldn't hold it. Now, that being said, this Hawaii program has come a long way this year. They're 4-6, 3-3 in the Mountain West. In their first 4 years of the Mountain West Conference, Hawaii won just 4 conference games.
They had a big opportunity here on homecoming against UNLV.
Timeout.
And that
Hawaii, this is their second timeout of the half.
the UNLV fumble return for a touchdown to put them up in that game really was a chance for them to even have more momentum and build off something even more positive.
Nick Rolovich surrounded by his team. Let's go back down to Cassie. Cassie McKinney.
Guys, co-offensive coordinator for Boise State, Zach Hill, has somewhat of an interesting situation being back in Hawaii today. He actually spent a month and a half coaching here at Hawaii. Back in December, Nick Rolovich hired Zach to be the Rainbow Warriors offensive coordinator, and then 48 days later, he left to join Boise State. He admits, yes, it's been awkward, but his decision came down to his family and location, and that the Boise State program really sold itself. We talked to Coach Rolovich this week about it. He said he understands how the coaching world works, and before the game, the two had a big laugh. They hugged it out. Rolovich was even laughing, yelling at the security to come take Zach away. But, guys, Hawaii does have a list of trick plays, and one of them might be named after Coach Hill.
All right, Cassie, they certainly need something to go right. Harris in the backfields. Option look. Oof. Drew Brown takes a big hit. Speaking of trick plays, the names of the Hawaii trick plays, they like to throw some fun names in there. Fear the Beard. That was a San Francisco Giants Brian Wilson tribute. You see Zach Hill made his way into one of the trick plays. The Australian version of Shrimp on the Barbie. They opened the season in Australia, lost to Cal. Brian Smith, the offensive coordinator. He was the center for Nick Rolovich and Timmy Chang here in the early 2000s. Tries to dial something up on third down. Brown scrambling, still alive, dumps it off. Harris around it. Nice move. That's close to the first down, and I think he's got it. And the crowd here just been waiting for something to cheer about. Likes the effort from both Brown and Harris.
Yeah, it's a big effort out there by Paul Harris. He puts a nice little move on Ben Weaver, number 51, the linebacker for Boise State. Sam McCaskill gets the initial pressure. He can't bring Brown down. And then this is just schoolyard football, and Harris makes a terrific play to get the first down.
So it's 1st and 10. Hawaii, their own 35. Brown going to keep it again. He's got yardage. Midfield. Brown goes down smartly at the 35-yard line. Durant Miles made the stop.
Well, here you go. A little bit of zone read action again. It's amazing. Once you pick up a first down, you can start to run your offense. Chancellor James, the strong safety for Boise State, had a chance in open space, but Brown proved to be a little too elusive and a big play.
Now the Boise State 35-yard line, and Stephen Lakalaka will get maybe a yard. Durant Miles made the stop. Hawaii shut out against that great San Diego State defense. Boise State likes their D, giving up just 22 points a game. Little drop off there. Evaliko. And around the corner, Evaliko is knocked out of bounds. That's creative. Brian Smith, Nick Rolovich.
That good speed by Evaliko on the jet sweep. I think Blake Whitlock, the outside linebacker, had a chance of some pretty good penetration into the backfield, but then Evaliko outran Joe Martirano to the sideline, and another good play.
You like the little dump off rather than the handoff on the jet sweep?
If it works, why not? If it doesn't, then I hate it.
3rd down 4. And Brown's throw is to Dakota Torres. And the sophomore tight end has a first down. And now Hawaii has some rhythm.
This is what they call an RPO, a run-pass option. So they're going to read the zone read. And then once the defensive player who's responsible in coverage on Torres comes off to try and tackle Drew Brown, he's going to dump it up to the open receiver.
Stephen Lakalaka in the backfield. Brown again, and this time Boise State is all over him. Darren Lee made the initial hit with some help from Tanner Vallejo.
A big-time play by Darren Lee, who was a special teams ace a season ago, but now leads the linebackers in sacks and tackles for loss. Makes a big play on first down.
Second down goal from the 10. Blitz comes, and Brown is clobbered. It's Vallejo. That's a loss of 4. 3rd and goal from the 14.
This is beautifully done. And Andy Avalos, the Broncos defensive coordinator, ran the absolute perfect blitz right into that play. This was going to be a quarterback draw, but they blitz the linebackers, and Vallejo makes a big stick in a hole.
From the 14, 3rd and goal. Brown's throw caught at the 10. Timoteo to the 7. Do you just settle for points? And it looks like that's what Hawaii's going to do. Rigoberto Sanchez is going to come on. Hawaii has stalled. Nick Rolovich wants something up on the scoreboard.
I don't know. It's tough because this is a tough defense here in the red zone, and you need to get 7 yards to get a touchdown, and that's tough to do. So I understand, trying to get 3 points out of it, but I just think you need to get 7 points and try and make something good happen, being down by 28.
Sanchez is perfect on the season. He's 9 of 9. That from 24 yards. And so Hawaii finally cracks the scoreboard. Number 22, Boise State, has built a big lead. Great offensively, and a big day for the Boise State defense. 28-3, number 22 Boise State. Late second half on top. The Verizon halftime reports coming up. Brent Stover, Houston Nutt, Christian Fourier, scores and highlights as this college football Saturday has had some surprises. And it's coming up on the Verizon halftime reports. Here, number 22 Boise State, obviously trying to help themselves in the standings. They'd love to move up from 22, and they'd love to keep their hope alive of a Mountain West championship, and that has been helped with a Wyoming loss today. This is Moxie, and Moxie is ripped down at the 18-yard line, pushing and shoving after the play at the 30. The officials trying to separate players. There's a lot of Hawaii players on the field right now, and the coaching staff doing a good job of keeping that defense off and not getting involved. No flags are down, and that's nice work by the officiating crew here in Hawaii. Arch, you were never involved in any of these, right?
No, I ran right for the bench as soon as something. Nothing wrong with a little dust up every now and then, as long as nobody gets hurt. How about you, Rich? You ever charge a mound?
No.
Come on.
No. In a few scraps, though, but never one that I started.
Oh, come on. I don't buy that for a second.
Second on a pitch. Now this is Alexander Madison, and Boise State thinks they've discovered another weapon to complement McNichols, and it's this freshman from San Bernardino.
Yeah, they sure do. And, in relieving Jeremy McNichols, they've had a pretty good 1-2 punch combination. And Brian Harsin said that he's kind of been able to graduate to the next level on this offense. Somebody that not only they can put in there and trust, but somebody that can produce some big plays as well.
Second down, 2, ripping an inside screen, well designed. That's Wilson. He's got speed. Anson Green. Wilson inside the 40. Trayvon Henderson hauled him down. The ankle looks fine. And it's been a big afternoon here for the junior out of Memphis, Cedric Wilson.
Yeah, good play design against a blitz. You're going to see the entire middle of the field wide open for Cedric Wilson to run. He follows the blocks of his linemen. We already talked about how dangerous he is down the field with this frame. 6'3", runs excellent routes, but he also has the ability to make plays and get yards after the catch as well. He is a all-around weapon here in the passing game for Boise State.
He's over 100 yards in receiving on 1st and 10. Rip and play action. Hit as he throws. Caught on the sideline there. Jake Rowe. And he's out of bounds at the 5-yard line. Great throw by Rippon, who was under duress.
It's another weapon in this offense. Jake Rowe was second-team All-Mountain West a season ago and has been battling kind of a knee injury all season. But he's been getting healthy and been much better here. You've seen here in the last 2 weeks being a bigger part of this offense.
It's a clean hit. Corey Rasmussen.
Brett Rippon has not missed a beat here today. He has been almost perfect.
Madison is hit and dropped. And that was a concern a couple weeks ago, Arch, was Rippon avoiding the big turnover. Remember, he threw a pick and a near pick 6 at Wyoming, had that fumble for a safety. Really cleaned it up last week against San Jose State.
Yeah, a couple things. They felt like, maybe they were trying to take too many shots there for a period offensively. And last week they wanted to have a little bit more easy throws and clean throws for Rippon. And it's really kind of his confidence. He feels like he can make any throw and throw any route on the entire field. And sometimes just that aggressive nature and that confidence has gotten him into trouble this year. But the last 2 games, he's been perfect.
Play action, Rippon looking end zone. He'll keep it. He's in. Touchdown, Boise State. An enormous first half for Brett Rippon and the Bronco offense.
Naked bootlegs on the goal line is tough because you really don't have the extra player to account for the quarterback. Everybody up front is playing for the run and playing for the cutback, and the receivers are all out in coverage. There's nobody to contain Rippon, and that's an easy touchdown.
Tyler Rosser with the point. Well, if there's any question about Boise State and their focus here in Hawaii, it's razor sharp, and it starts with a sophomore, Brett Rippon. Number 22, Boise State, comfortably up in Hawaii, approaching halftime, 35-3. Verizon halftime report is coming up, and these are some of the games that they will be looking at for sure. Alabama big over Mississippi State.
Ooh,
how
Clemson.
about Pittsburgh taking down Clemson?
Yikes.
Michigan and Iowa. Now that Washington-USC game is certainly one to watch as well. Louisville down to Wake Forest right now, 12-3. Texas A&M with a late lead. All of the scores and highlights on the Verizon halftime report coming up at the half. Brent Stover is locked and loaded for that. Evelico comes out of the end zone and is knocked out of bounds. Time now for our Phillips 66 Athlete of the Week, Boise State's Joe Martorano. Now, he may burst into Go Cubs Go because he was drafted by the Cubs. Arch, he's played 2 years in their farm system. This offseason was the first offseason where he did not play minor league baseball. That's as a Eugene Emeralds in the Northwest League. And Martorano starting at linebacker today for Boise State. Back to work, Drew Brown. Not a lot of time to go. Jonathan Moxie has had an outstanding first half, and he denies the football to Dylan Colley.
Yeah, they haven't been able to get much going on the outside. I think Boise State knows that, they're not really going to challenge deep much, and they're afraid of the turnover. But these cornerbacks, both Jonathan Moxie and Tyler Horton, are sitting all over these wide receivers.
Second down, 10. Brown flushed. Flag down. It's going to be a hold. Oh, Brown is knocked into the yardstick. There's no flag on that. But the flag right now is back at the 9-yard line.
Holding. Offense, number 78. Half the distance to the goal. Repeat, second down.
That's Leo Kolomatangi. This is the end of the play. That's clean.
Timeout for injured personnel.
Vallejo is the one that knocked Brown, and the concern is for that member of the chain gang who was hit.
Yeah, he did not even see that coming.
And you can see he hit his head on the turf, the field turf there. And let's hope that he gets some medical attention. It looks like he is going to go get some. He's been replaced on that chain crew. I guess if you're working on the chains, you'd rather be known as the chain crew than the chain gang. So we'll go with chain crew.
You're on fire tonight, Rich.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Second down, 17. Laka I mean, if you're on the sideline, whether you're a coach or a player or an official.
Timeout. Boise State, this is their first timeout of the half. This is a 30-second timeout.
He did not abandon his post, though.
Correction, this is a full 60-second timeout. 60 seconds.
That's committed to the job right there.
I think you're right, Arch. We would have dropped it and been gone. Boise State up big. This Veterans Day weekend. Aloha Stadium right in the back behind it. You've got Pearl Harbor. And if you ever get to Honolulu, that is a must-see. Get out, explore the visitor center, get out to the USS Arizona and that memorial. Hawaii will get the second half kickoff. Right now, it's 3rd down and 8. .42 seconds left. Boise State has 2 timeouts. Brown flushed. In trouble. And that's not what you want your diminutive quarterback taking. 2-3 shots on the tackle. And without his helmet, Brown is back on his feet.
Boy, I tell you, though, Boise State's defense is really flying around. Ben Weaver just ran him down. And David Moa, the nose tackle.
Boise State, this is their second charge timeout of the half.
And as we suspected and expected, Boise State will take a timeout, maybe try to add a finishing touch with 34 seconds left. Are you trying to block this kick? Are you trying to return it?
I think you're going to go for a return here. Try and get a big play. Send one person at the punter to try and block it, but you're going to get good field position with 1 timeout left.
It's good work by the defense. Brian Harsin, Andy Avalos, defensive coordinator for Boise State. Former linebacker at Boise State as well. Both these staffs have a lot of guys that played at these schools, had success at these schools. We've got 2 ex-quarterbacks, Harsin at Boise State, Rolovich at Hawaii. Sanchez will punt it. And it's a good punt. Moxie, fair catch. What a booming punt. I'll tell you what.
That was a good punt.
I know he plays in Hawaii. That is one of the best kickers in the country. He is a dual threat guy. He's 9 of 9 on field goals with a long of 55. And his average per punt is in the mid-40s. And obviously he doesn't punt at altitude either.
Well, they're fortunate because Darren Lee, the linebacker for Boise State, almost was about 3 inches from getting his right hand on the football and almost got a block. Number 44, and his right hand was right there.
Arch, that's a 56-yard punt. And Boise has 26 seconds, 1 timeout. But they've got 75 yards to go to the end zone, and Rippon is hit, dumps it out, got it to his running back, McNichols, up the right side, and he is out of bounds.
Well, boy, this is pretty amazing. Gerald Garcia-Williams is going to come in there, and he's going to get the initial shot, but the awareness of Rippon to get the ball out to McNichols, and then you just see the speed and the playmaking ability for McNichols to get up to the 45-yard line.
And he got out of bounds. It stops the clock. Rippon shotgun. Steps up. Lots of room, but not a lot of time. Getting for the sideline, and he gets out 5 seconds. Now, the clock did not stop when he went out of bounds, and I wouldn't be surprised if they put a couple more seconds up on the board.
Yeah, but unless they get at least 7 seconds, then it's not going to be enough time to run a play and be able to call a timeout.
Please put 5 seconds on the game clock. 5 seconds, please.
And they got just one.
Thank you.
This has to be extremely quick because normal play takes about 6 or 7 seconds.
Tyler Ross's career long is 51. But this is going to run out the half. Rippon airs it out. End zone jump ball. It is incomplete and almost caught. Sean Monster had a chance on the deflection to make the catch.
I think it was right in his hands, wasn't it? It was right there. It was right in his hands. This should have been a touchdown. Oh.
Well, that's about the only blemish on a first half, which saw Brett Rippon and Boise State put up 35 and head to the locker room with a 35-3 lead. Brian Harsin, Boise State head coach, with our Cassie McKinney.
Coach, Brett Rippon has had a big first half. What do you like from him?
Well, we won the turnover battle that first half, so we got to continue that. I think he's making good decisions. We're able to run the ball, so we're getting some one-on-one matchups, but he's been very efficient.
And what about the balance that your offense is bringing? How do you like that?
Well, when you can run it, that obviously helps us all, and we're trying to do that right now. We'll do it in the second half, but I like where Brett's at right now, decision-making wise, and how we're moving the football.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you, Cassie. Brian Harsin has to be thrilled. Not only is he up 35-3, but remember, Wyoming lost today. We'll talk about that in the second half. You're watching college football on CBS Sports Network, presented by Geico.
Has been able to do everything that they came into this game doing.
Quicken Loans brings you first half stats. Look at the offense and the average yards per play. 403 total yards and 10 a snap. That is impressive and overwhelming, certainly, for a rebuilding Hawaii team. Keelan Evelico to the 20, and that's as far as he gets. And let's check in with Cassie McKinney. Cassie?
Hey, Rich, caught up with head coach Dick Rolovich coming out of the locker room. He said in that first half, Drew got absolutely no help. We're catching with our shoulder pads and stomach. And in true Rolovich dry humor, he said the opposable thumb was a great invention. The guys there going with Ikaika Woolsey to start this second half. Drew's a little banged up. Coach said he can play, but he just wants to put Ikaika in to see if he can spark something. He said, we are playing uninspired football. That is not Hawaii football. I don't know who this team is right now. We need to make something happen. He told them in the locker room, we are 0-0 to start this second half. If we want to end the season right, got to get something going.
Paul Harris on the carry, and Harris is out of bounds. We may see Woolsey before the game is done, but it looks like Drew Brown is going to answer the bell and start this second half. And so it does sound like Woolsey will play. We'll keep our eye on that Hawaii quarterback. There's a look at it. Woolsey, the senior, who started the season as the starting quarterback, and it was Brown that, once he got the job, helped to propel Hawaii to 3 conference wins. Obviously, he's got his hands full here. Nice throwing catch. And Evelico makes the catch. The junior fights his way for 9 yards. Flashes in that first half. Adam Archuleta, flashes for this Hawaii offense.
Well, it's a good start, and getting Paul Harris involved in a big play run on your first play from scrimmage in the third quarter is an excellent start. And again, just throwing an efficient pass out there, a little hitch, and keep the offense moving down the field.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense, number 7, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
Coming off that 55-0 loss at San Diego State, where first half possessions were almost all inside the 15-yard line. This is the result. The 11-play, 68-yard drive, the best, and that was the field goal that got them on the board. And Nick Rolovich knows that they've tasted success and that this will be a rebuilding process, but a really nice first step to win 3 conference games this year. That ball's on the turf. Boise State is on the ground, and the Broncos have a turnover. How about that? Just the 5th.
I thought this was on Brown because he left the ball in the belly of Paul Harris for an extra long time. He tried to ride that thing, and I don't think that Harris tried to take the ball from Brown, but I think that was just an indecision by the quarterback right there that led to that ball getting out on the ground.
Boise State actually had that interception on the Evalico throw in the first half, so they forced 2 turnovers. Remember, they had just 4 coming into the ball game. And now Rippon with great field position. McNichol bounces off 1, and a second wave gets him. It's a gain of 4, maybe 5.
Yeah, just too many mistakes. Good start to the third quarter offensively for Hawaii, and then just another lapse in concentration. And you've already seen that Boise State offensively is just so hard to stop, and giving them the ball inside, you know, your own 50-yard line is tough for this defense.
Anytime you have 403 yards of total offense in one half of football, you've had a whale of a day. And McNichol stopped there. Corey Rasmussen made the stop for Hawaii.
They haven't done a bad job inside. What you've seen Boise State and McNichols have a lot of success on is their off-tackle game and getting outside and Hawaii's inability to set the edge. But inside, you've seen some pretty good plays by this defensive line for Hawaii.
3rd down 4. McNichols in the backfield. Rippon. Sideline for Wilson. Got it! Touchdown! Another big play connection. Brett Rippon and Cedric Wilson.
Boy, these two just have a special connection here in this game. Another beautiful pass by Rippon. And then Wilson, one thing that he's shown on these deep balls and these fade routes is an ability to get separation from the covering defensive back. And these two have been unstoppable here in this game.
35 yards on the touchdown. Seven catches, 141 yards for Cedric Wilson. A Hawaii fumble, and Boise State cashes in. Cedric Wilson and the Broncos are rolling.
College football on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Phillips 66. Proud to be here. By Advocare. Shop and learn more at advocare.com. And by ServPro, helping make fire and water damage like it never even happened.
Look at Waikiki. Gorgeous shot there. Home of Adam Archuleta the last 2 days. Surf lessons, a little tanning. Breaking down X's and O's in the sands. And right now, Hawaii is on their heels and on their feet. With more on that, here's Cassie McKinney. Cassie?
Yeah, Rich, if you notice, this entire Hawaii team is on their feet right now, and the reason is they took all their benches away. They've stacked them up against the wall, and slowly, one by one, they're taking them out of the stadium. I'm told during halftime, Coach Rolovich gave a very intense, very adamant speech in the locker room to the team, very upset with them. Like I said, he said he doesn't know who they are right now, so as a result, guys, making them stand up on their feet for the rest of the second half.
That I've never seen, but I applaud it.
I've never seen that before. This might be he might start a national trend here with this one.
You like that? You like the move?
Do. Yeah, I do.
Drew Brown in there, movement.
False start. Offense, number 86, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
I think something you have to remember about Hawaii at this point. This is still a very young team. You've got a sophomore quarterback getting his first taste of Division I football. You've got young offensive linemen. You're young on defense. This was a team last year that was 0-8 in the conference. They've won 3 conference games this year. So they've had progress, but still the growing pains are just that. And today they are quite painful. Good effort by Tuiunga to sell out and try to make that catch. It's incomplete. And it's second down and 15.
Well, I'm pretty confident that, Nick Rolovich is sitting here saying, we've done some good things this year. Maybe our record isn't, where we want it to be, but there was a couple games, especially our last 2 games, where we lost by a combined 10 points. And the fact is that, our guys have played with a lot of energy and a pretty good competitive intensity, especially playing here at home. But he has not seen that from his team so far in this game. Boise State has completely dominated every single aspect of his football team, and right now he's got to be frustrated.
Now there are a couple chairs.
Oh, come on.
Just a couple. Looks like the defensive secondary.
How are you going to leave a couple chairs?
You've got to earn it, Arch.
I'd be surprised. If I was a player and my coach took the bench off the field to send a message, even if there were chairs there, I would not sit in those chairs.
Brown and fires it out of bounds and incomplete. Blake Whitlock with the pressure, and Hawaii is going to have to punt again.
You know what I'm saying, Rich?
I'm with you.
You don't sit in the chairs.
You don't want to be that guy. Now, what happens if Cassie McKinney gets tired and she needs a place to sit down?
She doesn't. She doesn't get tired.
Sanchez, another really nice kick. Moxie wrapped up and caught at the 42-yard line. Timeout just underway here, second half. And a flag is down all the way back at the 34-yard line of Hawaii.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, kicking team. That's a 15-yard penalty be added from the end of the return. First down.
No player is named.
Correction. The foul was against the receiving team. That foul will be enforced 15 yards from the end of the return. First down, Boise.
Boise State with a football. Ryan Harsin and the Broncos up big, 42-3. No bench to sit on for the offense right now, 42-3. Boise State on top of Hawaii. Big day for the Geico difference makers. Let's start with Jeremy McNichols. Only 16 carries, but 153 yards. And Brett Rippin's been terrific, and he is hooked up with Cedric Wilson as well. Cedric Wilson has 141 yards on just 7 catches. And a good look there for the Geico difference maker. Alexander Madison is in the backfield for Boise State. Madison, who had the big week against San Jose State, Out of bounds. Yeah, Jelani Tabai made the stop to gain a 5 for Madison.
Boy, Jake McKnight, number 84, their tight end, on the edge, just knocked Kalen Hicks, number 16, the safety, and just drove him out of the way.
Both tight ends. Jake Rowe is in there as well. They've got 5 tight ends. They put them in a lot of different formations. Great throw and catch. Spurbeck midfield. And Spurbeck is inside Hawaii territory to the 42-yard line.
Well, you can see what makes Spurbeck such a good wide receiver and so productive for so long. Not only his glue-like hands, but just his awareness. As soon as he catches this ball, he's going to sense Trayvon Henderson to his inside and immediately reverse back out and just put a move on Henderson to pick up about 10 more yards.
At the Hawaii 42. Rippon has been brilliant in this one. 14 of 18, 253 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And you think about it, at that play at the end of the half, that would have been his 4th touchdown throw. That would have put him over 300 yards. But he has to settle for a 42-3 lead.
Yeah, he's been pretty much unstoppable. It's got to be a great feeling as a quarterback. You've got a weapon in the backfield like Jeremy McNichols, who running the ball behind his offensive line is as good as anybody in college football. But then you have guys like Spurbeck and Wilson that are tremendous mismatches for your offense. When things are working with balance, this is a very hard offense to stop.
This is Madison with the catch, and he's got the first down to the 30-yard line. The other thing they really like about Rippon is his leadership ability. And just a sophomore, so much so that Leon Rice, the head basketball coach for Boise State, brought his young point guard, Paris Austin, to football practice in the fall and let Austin watch Brian Harson's quarterback work, especially that 2-minute drill, because of the leadership, the organizational skills that Rippon has. Madison to the 19-yard line. He's a different runner than McNichols. 5'11", 206 pounds, thick, strong.
Yeah, he is going to be exciting to watch. It's amazing that he's only a freshman. And when you talk to the staff and talk to the players, you know, being wise beyond his years, but he ran for over 4,000 yards in high school, 48 touchdowns, ran track, and even wrestled a little bit. So this kid is a terrific football player and has a very bright future. It's amazing. Jeremy McNichols is only a junior, and Madison's only a freshman, along with Brett Rippon. This is going to be a tough offense for a lot of years.
No yards there. Mefi Kolamatungi made the stop for Hawaii.
Beautiful move inside, swim move on Archie Lewis, the left tackle for Boise State. And Kolamatungi showing that athletic ability. And one of the few times we've seen penetration from the Rainbow Warrior defense and getting to these Bronco running backs in the backfield.
Arch, translate, what is a swim move for a lineman?
Swim, well, visualize somebody swimming with the arm over the shoulder and twisting your body to get inside the crack.
Oh, okay.
How about that?
I like it. That's good.
Boise State, this is their first time out of the half.
Boise State.
This will be a 30-second timeout. 30-second timeout.
With a timeout, 7:40 left, third quarter. Second down and 12 for Boise State, who has a chance to move into a tie with Wyoming atop the mountain with a win here after Wyoming upset by UNLV in 3 overtimes today. Break down Week 10 in the NFL. Our panel of former pro quarterbacks get you inside the minds of the biggest stars in football. NFL Monday, quarterback delivered by FedEx, Monday, 6 Eastern, only on CBS Sports Network. When are you defensive backs going to get together and have your own show? Why do the quarterbacks get the show?
Dude, that's what I'm talking about. You want to be my agent?
I'm there.
You're hired.
I'm there.
But I'll only give you like 2%.
That's all right. I like you.
But I think you're right.
I'm with you. Why quarterbacks? I mean, it's a good show, but I think you defensive backs should align. Now, the Mountain West standings, we referenced a 3-overtime win for UNLV in Las Vegas. That knocks Wyoming to 5-1. Boise State can go to 5-1. New Mexico certainly can also get to 5-1. New Mexico is at Utah State tonight. Rippin sacks. Tavai came from behind, his 4th sack of the season.
Now, I'm pretty surprised that we haven't called Tavai's name more often than this game. This is the leading tackler in the Mountain West so far this season, All-American rugby player in high school. But it tells you how effective the Boise State offensive line in the running game has been. That's the first time we've seen him make a play today.
McNichols back in. He obviously is a receiving threat even in the backfield. Rippin wants another timeout. So the Broncos have taken 2 timeouts. You see the play clock was down to 1.
Timeout. Boise State. This is their second charge timeout.
He was not going to get the play off in time. So I guess the question is, what's next for Boise State and Wyoming and perhaps even New Mexico in that mountain? Now remember, Wyoming beat Boise State. We had that game 2 weeks ago. So they have the tiebreak. However, getting to the end of the regular season with just 1 loss is going to be tough. They host San Diego State. We've got that game on CBS Sports Network next week. And then they travel to New Mexico, who wants a piece of that division crown as well.
Well, it's not going to be easy. Wyoming's a good football team, but I mean, as you can see today, giving up that many points to UNLV with a tough loss for Craig Bowl and the Wyoming Cowboys, who've done just an unbelievable job of turning that program around. But if they want to represent that Mountain Division, they're going to have to go out and win it.
We told you at Utah State for New Mexico tonight, but at Colorado State, that's not easy. And then, of course, the Wyoming game on the 26th. 3rd down, 15. Boise really good on 3rd down. Blitz comes, and McNichols out of the backfield. Not going to get the 1st down. Tavai made the hit. Henderson is there as well.
Well, maybe taking the benches off the sideline worked a little bit. This is the most excited and the most energetic and the most plays this defense has made so far in this game here on this last drive. I mean, that's, I think, the kind of effort that they're looking for. But they have to find a way to do it from the first quarter on instead of waiting until you're down by 39 points.
This is Tyler Rassa. He's not had the best of years. Had a great year last year. And maybe that kick will give him some confidence moving forward. Rassa drills it, 45-3 now at a 38-yarder. 3rd quarter in Hawaii, all Boise State. Number 22, Boise State comfortably on top in Hawaii, 45-3. College basketball season underway, and Monday night at 7 on CBS Sports Network. 7th-ranked Xavier. Get your Skyline chili going. Maybe some Grater's ice cream in Cincinnati. Welcoming Buffalo on the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Your AP preseason top 10. Our producer Bruce Clark happy to see that Indiana took down number 3 Kansas yesterday. What a finish as well here in Hawaii for Arizona as they beat Michigan State. I'm sure all of our CBS Sports Network basketball analysts are headed in different directions this week. Avalico to the 3-yard line. Advocare brings you this update from New York. Brent Stover, Michigan, and Iowa. Brent?
Well, the Hawkeyes pin the Wolverines inside the 2. Jaleel Johnson stuffs Davion Smith for the safety. 10-2 Michigan leads, but Iowa inside the Michigan 5, guys.
All right, thank you, Brent. I think in the college football playoff standings, there will be
after
some
the
movement.
return, unsportsmanlike conduct. Number 84, the kicking team. That 15-yard penalty will be added to the end of the return. First down.
Obviously, Clemson.
This is number 84's first unsportsmanlike conduct foul of the game.
All right, it's safe to go, I think. Clemson going down, Michigan in a tough one, Washington behind to USC, Louisville in a tussle with Wake Forest. This could be a real moving day weekend come Tuesday, and Brian Harsin is hopeful that Boise, with a decisive win here, they would love to see Washington State continue to win. That's probably their signature win. That will push them higher in the standings. They're just one behind Western Michigan at number 22. And, of course, Western Michigan is unbeaten. They have their eye on a New Year's Six bowl as well. Right from midfield after the penalty. Drew Brown. This is Paul Harris. And Harris to the 35-yard line. That's a 15-yard carry. He had a 1,000-yard season last year, Harris.
A pretty good blitz pickup by the left guard, John Wa'a, who pulled to get to the blitzing linebacker, and then Harris showing a really good feel and getting that feel for some yards.
Adam, I think for Hawaii right now, it's to get some success offensively, get some confidence headed to next week. A loss would make them 4-7, but if they win their last 2 games, they have an outside shot at a bowl game. And that would be an enormous step forward for a program that won just 4 conference games over the last 4 years coming into this season. There's Kemp, and the big man makes the catch. 13 yards on the catch. Tyler Horton made the stop.
Yeah, Rich, going back to your point, I think, it's pretty evident that, after talking to the staff, kind of about that same thing yesterday is the fact that how important going to a bowl game would win. When you're a part of a program that just hasn't won consistently for so many years, you kind of have to, you understand what it takes to go out there and win football games again. And, getting a reward at the end of the season and accomplishing something can be the stepping stone to building off of that next season.
This is Brown, and he's at the 22-yard line. Now, last week was a tough week. They lost 55-0 to first place San Diego State. And when Nick Rolovich on his coach's show started taking phone calls, he was bracing for a lot of heat. But what he found were a lot of Hawaii fans that were calling in and saying, thank you. Thank you for starting the process of turning this program around. They have a tradition of winning here. When Rolovich was here with June Jones, that was certainly part of it. Brown fires it high and incompletes. Kemp was the intended receiver.
I think one thing that Boise State defensively in this game that the coaching staff kind of harped on is defensively this year, tackling. They've had some issues in their games tackling. And they said, a lot of that was because of the turnovers and maybe emphasizing turnovers too much. And they noticed their defensive players maybe going for turnovers instead of using their fundamentals. And they thought tackling and paying attention to your eye discipline and not letting receivers and tight ends get behind you I think they've done both of those things extremely well here in this game against Hawaii.
Brown is scrambling and throwing. It's caught for the first down. Timoteo. And so a nice drive here by Drew Brown and Hawaii has them inside the 10.
This is kind of another example of some backyard football again, just trying to make a play. And you see Brown's athletic ability to buy some time. And it was pretty good coverage there. But when a quarterback runs around like that, it's hard to defend every pass.
Verizon red zone just the second time there for Hawaii. They came away with 3 points. Looking for their first touchdown in a couple of weeks. Brown rolls. In trouble and throws it over Harris. Brown escaping out of bounds, and it will bring up second down and goal.
A really good catch-up in closing speed by Joe Martirano, the inside linebacker. And I think if Martirano wasn't able to run him down, Brown would have had an opportunity to maybe run this thing in the end zone.
From the 8. Harris and Boise State's defense made the stop. Archie used the words "eye discipline" as a great defender at Arizona State and then in the NFL. What is eye discipline?
Well, I think as it pertains to Boise State, let's go back to that Wyoming game that we did, and they really had a hard time with tight ends in that game and letting receivers get behind them. And that was because their defensive backs were looking at the quarterback or looking in the backfield and not paying attention to the man that they're supposed to cover. So if you're supposed to cover a man, your eyes have to stay on him, and you can't get distracted by all the other action that's happening around you.
Prior to the snap, timeout, Hawaii. This is their first charge timeout of the half. It's a 30-second timeout.
So on third down and goal, Nick Rolovich wants to make sure he's got the right play. Trying to get this team in the end zone for the first time. Let's go back to New York. Brent Stover still talking Michigan and Iowa.
Well, it's now 10-8 in the second quarter. Akron Wadley at 4th and goal scores the touchdown. It's now at the half. The two-point conversion failed. 10-8 in that Big Ten showdown.
Wow. There's Michigan's remaining schedule. Of course, the Ohio State game is on the 26th. And then if they get through all of that, possible Big Ten championship. Number 3, Michigan. But as we said, those college football playoff rankings, when they come out on Tuesday, there's going to be a lot of teams that have moved up and have moved down.
But you know that's, I don't know, I think sometimes it's a little silly. I know we kind of like to get the rankings, mid-season. But in reality, the last 8 representatives have been conference champions. And so before the conferences are kind of settled, it's really, in my eyes, a little silly to come out with a kind of a playoff ranking. I don't know. What do you think, Rich?
I think one of the things it does is it illustrates or illuminates what the committee is looking for and how they rank teams. So it gives you an idea of where you're headed. I think that's number 1.
But really, until the conference champions are decided.
Brown, Moxie is there to swallow him up.
Now, I think if you made the argument of maybe going to 8 teams, then it can have some relevance and some interest. But the way I see it, again, especially in the last 2 seasons at least, it's always been the conference champions, and the real decision is which one is going to be left out.
Well, and I hate to use it, but the group of 5 schools, including Boise State, not in the Power 5, I'm sure they would love to see that playoff expanded to 8. Craig Bull said that, the Wyoming coach. Looks like Hawaii's going to settle for a field goal opportunity, and lots of stuff went wrong there. Play clock was down. You had an official.
I don't think I've ever seen that before.
You had an official who looked like he was going to take the snap.
They needed that.
Offense, 5-yard penalty. It remains 4th down.
Well, wait a minute. This was odd because as they were trying to get the snap off, one of the officials was in that backfield, almost holding the play up.
Yeah, this is pretty.
Now,
I don't understand what was happening right there.
well, Rigoberto Sanchez is perfect on the day. He's perfect on the season. He's 10 of 10. Minute and a half left, third quarter. Sunset in Honolulu. And what a gorgeous sight that is in Pearl Harbor. Boise State 45. Hawaii has a pair of field goals. 45-6. Chick-fil-A fan cam. Love the cow. I do know one thing you and I have learned about games here at Aloha Stadium over the last 2 years, because both of our games were afternoon games. And the stands that you see across the field don't have a lot of folks in them. That's because that's the sun side of the stadium for the first half. This side of the stadium where we are sitting had a large contingent of both Hawaii and Boise State fans to start the day. That's out of bounds. So we were wondering what happened on that delay. The center judge is Bill Bishop. That's a kick out of bounds.
Kickoff out of bounds on the kicking team. That 5-yard correction. By rule, the ball will be placed at the 35-yard line. First down.
All right, Bill Bishop, the center judge, Arch. What went on here?
Well, I believe their right tackle, number 74, R.J. Hollis, was late getting on the field, so the center judge is going to come in there and hold it to allow him to get set. And then there's a delay of game. So the delay of game comes because R.J. Hollis, the senior right tackle, did not get on the field in time. Pretty strange, though. Yeah, I've never seen that. Have you, Rich?
Well, actually, in an NFL game this past weekend in Seattle, we saw something similar to that. All right, let's go to New York. Brent Stover, Louisville, and Wake Forest.
Rich, the number 6 Cardinals have trailed Wake all night, but a 7-yard touchdown run for Brandon Radcliffe, 2-point conversion, no good. Louisville in the 4th, though, finally leading 16-12.
9 straight wins at home for the Cardinals. Thank you, Brent. Here, Boise State is in control and cruising in the final minute of the third quarter. This is Madison, the freshman running back. Oh, man. Talk about a stiff arm. Jelani Tavai made the stop.
Boy, does he look good running the ball. It's almost an effortless run, as if the Hawaii defenders don't even exist out there.
Boy, 2 stiff arms on that run.
The old double stiff, huh?
Boise State only has 509 yards of total offense. In 3 quarters of football, Madison running downhill to the 44-yard line. It'll be second down and 2 after an 8-yard carry. And the final seconds evaporate from the third quarter in a game dominated by number 22, Boise State. And it comes on the heels of a loss in triple overtime to UNLV by Wyoming.
That's the end of the third quarter.
You're watching college football on CBS Sports Network, presented by Geico. Bud Light game summary after 3 quarters in Hawaii. All Boise State, 517 total yards. Rich Waltz along with Adam Archuleta here in Hawaii. We get ready to start the 4th quarter. And it's Boise State at their own, or rather at the Hawaii 44-yard line. Brett Rippon has been terrific. Rippon gonna throw it. End zone shot. Spurbeck. Touchdown. Boise State. Wow. Talk about having a day in paradise. Brett Rippon has been absolutely outstanding.
Holding, defense, that penalty is declined. The result of the play is a touchdown.
You bet it is.
This is just absolutely brilliant. For the second time today, Spurbeck isolated on a safety. Before, in the first drive of the game, it was against a freshman. This time, it's against their best safety in Trayvon Henderson, and he just leaves him at the top of the route. And again, Rippon just absolutely perfect.
And so Boise State has hung 52 on Hawaii. All right, Arch, I know this is not Wyoming. That's the team that took Boise State down. But Boise State in 2 weeks looks like they've cleaned up a lot of their issues.
They sure have. And the thing that really stands out in this game is their best players and their stars have all played magnificent games. It started with the early touchdown to Spurbeck, and then Jeremy McNichols was just absolutely unstoppable. But then Cedric Wilson gets involved, and they get their tight ends involved, and not to mention their defense, forcing turnovers and just swarming and putting hits on the Hawaii offense.
And it's amazing how things can change quickly. Remember where Boise State sat 2 weeks ago? All of a sudden it looked like Wyoming had a clear path. Wyoming goes down in triple overtime to UNLV today, and all of a sudden Boise State is looking pretty good, and Wyoming's schedule is really tough in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, the only thing, and we talked to Brian Harsin about this yesterday, was the fact that, yeah, you know, they lost that game and it was disappointing, but you couldn't dwell on it. And it was just about cleaning up all the mistakes that they've had in wins this season, but also in that loss against Wyoming, and understanding that there was a lot of football left to play this season. And their only focus and their only goal had to be to come out there and play the very best 4-quarter game they can. And they've done it 2 weeks in a row.
That kick is out of bounds, flag down, and Hawaii's going to get it at the 35-yard line. While we have a second, let's go to New York. Washington and USC. That's an enormous game as well. Here's Brent Stover. Brent?
Rich and Adam, he got that right. Jake Browning, here's one out, 70 yards. Missed assignment there. John Ross, touchdown. USC still leads 17-13. 30 seconds left, 3rd quarter, and the Trojans in the red zone.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the teams on that schedule, Washington State at number 23, is a really important team for Boise State's hope to get to a New Year's Six. Because remember, Boise State beat Washington State. The Cougars and Mike Leach were 0-2 at the time, and they have run the table right now. And the higher they go, the better the resume gets for Boise State in the college football playoff ranking. Out pattern. Oh, goodness. John Ursua made the catch. DeAndre Pierce made the hit. Ursua holds on and heads to the sideline.
Oh, that's got to feel good. DeAndre Pierce, the 5'11", 170-pound freshman cornerback, just that's a beautiful thing, Rich.
All right. Nice move there. Paul Harris. And Harris still on his feet, down to the 20, and a spark of life from Hawaii's offense.
I think you said it perfectly, because if there's one thing offensively for Hawaii to kind of hang their hat on here today, has been the play of Paul Harris. This is maybe the 2nd or 3rd run of the game where he's made something happen, and you see the tackle of breaking ability and then what he can do as soon as he gets in the secondary. But he's one of the only people on this team who have gone out there and played well today.
Harris inside the 5, and he looks like he's out of gas. Now he's holding that right hamstring. Let's hope that is merely a cramp.
Timeout for an injured player.
You could tell he was cramping in the middle of that run. He avoided tackles and then stumbled a couple of times before ending up down at the 4-yard line. And the fact that they're stretching it right now is a good sign.
Yeah, the tackle breaking ability, maybe a couple shoestring tackles, nothing, not heavy contact anyways, but still, if there's one person that hasn't thrown in the towel here for Hawaii, it's been the play of Paul Harris.
Well, Harris, who got the start, 123 yards on 11 carries. Now, look, I know this game is out of hand at 52-6, but we talked about next week for Hawaii. They're at Fresno State. They've got UMass, so they've got a shot at 6 wins. And Nick Rolovich is trying to just get some positive plays under their belt here in the 4th quarter. Brown, nowhere to go. Kikoa Nawahine, the stop for Boise State. And of course, Boise State would love to keep this score as lopsided as possible. Any little scrap of style points or whatever that they can muster to try to get past Western Michigan, who is 1 spot ahead of them, 21 in the rankings.
Well, to that, Rich, I would say if the college football playoff committee is going to delineate between 52-6 and 52-14, then I think maybe we have a problem with how we're going to rank our teams in college football.
I'm with you on that. However, if you're Brian Harsin, are you confident that that's the case?
I would hope so.
Brown rolling, throwing, end zone, caught, and a touchdown. And how nice is that? It's Ursua, who was just blown up on that catch earlier in the drive.
Yeah! See, did he make it in bounds? Oh, that right foot, huh?
That's the foot in question. Was the toe on the line?
You know, I think there's a little bit of green.
The ruling on the field is a touchdown.
Well, I think whoever operates the cannon, they're quite confident that there's not enough to overturn, and it has been confirmed by the replay official. And they will, I suspect, maybe reload the cannon after the official confirmation. John Ursua, the freshman out of Kalua, with a touchdown.
College football on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Dr. Pepper. It's a college football tradition. By Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Push button. Get mortgage. By Chick-fil-A. We didn't invent the chicken, just the chicken sandwich. And by Bud Light. Raise one to right now.
52-13. Hawaii has a couple of scores here in the second half. A field goal and a touchdown. But number 22, Boise State, is in control. And the Broncos are steaming towards 9-1 and 5-1 in the Mountain Division of the Mountain West Conference. And with that triple overtime loss by Wyoming, Boise State's championship game hopes and New Year's Six hopes are buoyed. Good special teams play by Hawaii. All right, New Year's Six. Those are the New Year's Six bowls. Group of 5 teams. Look how close Western Michigan and Boise State are. Now, Boise State's best win is Washington State. Northwestern, out of the Big Ten, is Western Michigan's best. But Washington State is in the top 25, and that's going to help Boise State. And remember, that's college football playoff rankings. So Boise State has a chance if they run out to pass Western Michigan.
But, you know, and the way I see it is, you know, Boise State has to still try and find a way to get into and win the Mountain West championship
That's
game.
right. They've got to be a champion to get into that New Year's Six. And, Arch, they got help today. Thomas Stewart is now playing quarterback for Boise State. Ryan Wolpen with that carry. There's a look at Stewart, the junior out of Butte Community College, which also produced a pretty good quarterback for the Cal Bears and the Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers.
He's a much different quarterback than Brett Rippon. He's more of the athletic, change of pace, exceptional at running the football.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense, number 72, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
All right, Arch, Boise State needs help, right? Well, they got some help today from UNLV, who took down Wyoming in 3 overtimes. And Wyoming has tough games. They have San Diego State coming to town next week. They go to New Mexico to finish the season. So the possibility of 2 losses for Wyoming. Boise State beat New Mexico earlier this year. They've got the tiebreaker over the Lobos. That's Wolpen again. Trayvon Henderson made the stop. Third down and 7. Stewart puts it up. Nice throw and catch. Killian Butler made the catch. And so some of the guys that don't see a lot of time for Boise State getting some run. By the way, we were talking about that field goal and Bill Bishop. By rule, that late, and you were right, Arch, the late substitution by Hawaii, the job of the center judge there, Bill Bishop, is to allow the defense to substitute as well. So by law or by rule, he has to make sure the defense has an opportunity, and that's why he was by the holder and had his hand up to allow the defense a chance, if they wanted to make the change. Here's a look at it.
Personal foul.
On comes Hollis. Center judge, by rule, has to give Boise State.
Personal foul. Illegal hands to the face. Defense, number 94. That 15-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run. Automatic first down.
So just to clarify that.
I needed clarification on that. It looked silly, but I appreciate that because I was having a hard time getting through the rest of the game without knowing exactly what happened.
All right, hands to the face. Never like to see that.
Right there in the center of your screen, number 94, Gifford.
Wolpen, and he's down at the 44-yard line. So 10 minutes left, ball game, and Boise State looking at a very impressive effort here on the island. As we noted, the Broncos' schedule They go home for UNLV and then finish at Air Force. Look at the day from Ripon, 338 yards. And that's lined up behind a 16 for 21 effort with 3 touchdowns against San Jose State.
Yeah, I think 4 incompletions and 4 touchdowns means he's had a pretty stellar day.
And he had a touchdown dropped, remember. Crossing pattern, it's Butler. And he's down at the 47-yard line. It's a gain of 7.
I tell you, who knows exactly what's going to happen, but it would be fun to watch Boise State and San Diego State play because of the way San Diego State plays defense. And Boise State, when their offense is rolling, with the passing game and the weapons and the emergence of Cedric Wilson, and now with the combination of Madison and McNichols, that would be a pretty fun game to watch and see how that played out.
Jelani Tavai has not stopped playing. The sophomore, the leader of this Hawaii defense.
Yeah, blitz right up the middle. Right up the middle between the center and the guard, and nobody blocks him. And you should make that tackle.
Tavai on the sideline.
There's nowhere to sit.
That's right. If you just joined us,
I think they have 4 chairs down there, and it's a race to see who gets to sit down first.
Fair catch called for and made. Nick Rolovich, the head coach at Hawaii, unhappy at halftime, took the benches away from the Hawaii sideline. 52-13. 52-13. Serve pro brings you the play of the game. It took us a good half an hour to decide on one play. All the big plays that Boise State has had. And how about this one? This is Jeremy McNichols into the end zone. You want another look? That made it 14-0 Boise State. McNichols has been out for some time, but 16 carries, 153 yards. Serve pro, play of the game.
You can say that's a productive game. Had 158 yards last week and 2 touchdowns. This is his 5th 100-game rushing in a row. So he has started to catch a little bit of fire here for the Broncos on offense.
That's a creative option look. Let's check in with Cassie McKinney. Cassie?
Yeah, Rich, one of the things that Boise State is doing that's new this year is taping coaches' meetings. Coach Harsin said we already tape everything else in practice and workouts, but we wanted to do more self-evaluation as a coaching staff and scout ourselves. It has 2 purposes. Harsin said first to go back and see how we teach from the words we use and our demeanor. It's also to watch how fellow coaches conduct meetings. Coach said we have so many new coaches on our staff. It's been so beneficial with our development to better ourselves, guys.
Wow. So they will take coaches' meetings. We thought about that for a production meeting the other night. That was incomplete. Nice reach by Timoteo on the Drew Brown throw. But we had our production meeting actually on Waikiki Beach, so we decided not to film it, which I think was a good decision.
That was a wise choice. That's when we heard that story, I thought that was kind of unique. They said we tape our players, and so they really felt like they could learn from other coaches and their coaching styles and the way they communicated with their players. And I think that's a pretty good deal, and I'm sure it's fun to kind of watch and see how other great teachers coach.
This is Brown, and he's out of bounds. Drew Brown today had some drops early, especially that long throw to Kemp that should have been a touchdown. He's carried the ball with some effectiveness. You could see when his coach tells us that he's a gamer. He is a scrappy, not a big quarterback. Brown has run for 61 yards. Throws on the run, and is it picked? Nawahine couldn't hold it.
Oh, that was just a great break on the ball. Just got to come down with that for a spectacular interception. Nawahine just undercuts it, and that would have been, if he just could have brought that ball in 1 or 2 yards earlier, that would have been spectacular.
That's a great effort. Second down, 10 ball midfield. Harris having a big second half, caught from behind, chews up 19 more yards. Let's check in with Brent Stover, USC and Washington.
Guys, I need help sorting this out. Number 2, Clemson lost. Number 3, Michigan trails 11-10. And now Washington, after that touchdown, down 24-13 in the 4th.
Wow.
I'm telling you, Brent, it is moving day in the college football playoff rankings. The updated ones will come out on Tuesday. I told you earlier that Boise State fans are huge fans right now of Washington State because the higher the Cougars go, the better the resume gets for Boise State. They are also huge fans of the Washington Huskies because, of course, Chris Peterson, the former head coach at Boise State, is starting to do what he did at Boise State with Washington, and that's put them in the national picture. Brown, nice throw there, Torres. And the big tight end amidst flags and tacklers rolls out of bounds at the 14-yard line.
Holding, offense, number 7. It's a 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Still second down.
That's Tui Unga, the other tight end.
You see, just at the end of this play, he's going to come into your bottom left, and he gets just a small little hook. But I'm surprised, Rich, that we haven't seen more of Tui Unga in the passing game today. You know, he's one of their best weapons that they have on offense, especially from a matchup standpoint. But they have not tried to get him the ball in this game, and I find that a little odd.
Brown escapes, being chased, has a man, that's Colley to the 20-yard line, and that's a first down. And you have to really respect the guts of Drew Brown right now. He has not quit playing.
This is his game exactly. Almost has a little bit of almost a little Doug Flutie in him, doesn't he? Rolling out there and just kind of trying to make stuff happen.
That's what Nick Rolovich told us. That he's better when they move the pocket and when he's rolling out. Jabril Frazier makes the stop for Boise State. And it will be second down for Hawaii.
Now, I'm not saying he is Doug Flutie, of course, but kind of looked like him on that play.
Well, look, Brown and Cassie had that at the outset of the telecast, the story of Brown, a guy that wasn't offered a scholarship out of high school, wanted not to walk on. Nick Rolovich saw him at a camp in Reno. Brown went to College of San Mateo, lit it up. Rolovich got the head coaching job here. Told him he would have a spot, but not a starting spot. He's won that starting spot. And he throws it high and out of the reach. And it brings up third down and 8.
Well, I think, you know, there's one thing that was evident is, you know, their passing game, they have to be set up by the running game. You know, that has to be a part of this offense. And just because they got down by so much early and they were behind schedule on offense with poor first down plays, they just didn't allow themselves to get on track offensively. And I think it's a little bit too much to ask from this offense if they have to get in 3 and 4 wide receiver sets and throw the ball 35, 40 times a game.
3rd down, 8, blitz comes. Brown's throw batted down. I would think at this point of the game on 4th down and 8. But it looks like Rigoberto Sanchez is coming on for the field goal. Now, remember, they had a successful fake field goal. He doesn't have a holder out there right now. The kicker is out. Sanchez, and nobody to hold.
Well, we're about to see the center judge again.
Bring him on.
How come he didn't come out this time?
Hawaii did have a fake field goal for a touchdown earlier this season. Sanchez, tell you what, this kicker still perfect. 11 of 11 this year. 3:48 left in Hawaii. 3:48 left in this one. Number 22 Boise State on top, 52-16. Coming up shortly, San Diego State and Nevada from Reno. Carter Blackburn, Eric Davis, Jenny Dell standing by. We'll get you there as soon as this one ends. And by the way, if you're tuning in for that game, log on right now to cbssports.com/live. And as soon as the game kicks off, it's streaming live. There you go. That is, approximately 4 minutes away. It's so simple, Adam Archuleta, that even I was able to dial it up on my iPad. And I await the live stream from Reno. We'll get you there as soon as this one is done.
Very simple, Rich.
A lot of the Hawaii yards have come after this one was way out of reach. Boise State was over 500 yards after 3 quarters. Moxie showing some of it. And he's captured and driven out of bounds. We step aside, 3:38 left, 52-16. Yeah, go Broncos. 52-16, 3:38 left. We will get you out to Reno for San Diego State and Nevada. That is coming up after this one. Boise State with Thomas Stewart at quarterback. Corey Young is the running back, and Young gets a carry and stretches out. And again, we are streaming San Diego State and Nevada. CBSSports.com/live. Hopefully, Carter Blackburn, Eric Davis, and Jenny Dell still have some per diem left in Reno. One of the fine places to visit in the Mountain West Conference, out to the 40. So, Adam Archuleta, we've got 3 minutes to summarize, capsulize what we've seen here today. Boise State has cleaned up a lot of things they wanted to. 52-16 is the lead.
I think, coming into this game, let's face it, Boise State has been a power for how many years now, and been an established program that is looking to play in New Year's Six Bowls and looking to play for championships. And Hawaii is a program that is in a rebuilding phase. So I think you can clearly see that, there's a ways to go here for Nick Rolovich and the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. But, Boise State is among one of the top football teams in the country. And they knew that to come into this game, and to compete, they had to be almost perfect. And they weren't perfect, and Boise State was too good and was able to take advantage of their mistakes.
And, of course, that night in Laramie, the safety at the end of the 4th quarter, the difference between Boise being number 22 and in reality being in the top 10 right now Because remember, they were on the doorstep of the top 10 that night. And there were teams 8, 9 in that area that lost that night. So flag is down.
That guy can play some ball.
After the play was over, personal foul, defense, number 94. It's a 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. Automatic first down.
All right, this win for Boise State puts them in a tie with Wyoming for the top spot in the Mountain. Remember, Wyoming beat Boise. They've got the head-to-head tiebreak. But a three-way tie is decided by the highest college football playoff rank. That could happen with New Mexico and Boise. But remember, Wyoming's got 2 really tough games coming up, including a visit to New Mexico. And Boise, if you're wondering about head-to-head with New Mexico, they beat New Mexico earlier in the year. All right, let's talk Hawaii quickly. If Nick Rolovich and the Rainbow Warriors, who have 2 games left, are able to win those games, a 6-7 season would be an enormous step forward in what is a major rebuild job.
Yeah, it would be. It would be a huge success. And, you know, they've done a pretty good job against Mountain West teams. You know, they had the loss against UNLV, but very easily could have won that game. The last 2 weeks, both San Diego State last week and now Boise State, 2 of the best teams you're going to play. And, you know, it obviously showed the gap in the talent and where these teams are as a program. But you'd have to say that so far this year, the way they've competed in the Mountain West, they've made tremendous progress, and a bowl would be a big reward for that.
So, Boise State is going to walk off the island. 52-16 the final. 9-1, 5-1 in the Mountain West Conference. Big win for Boise State, for Adam Archer.